There's a specific moment parents talk about after something like this happens. Not the moment they found out, the moment before that. The small moment where something felt slightly off, and they almost said something, and then didn't. This is a story about that moment, and about a 9-year-old girl named Chloe, and about someone who spent months pretending to be someone he wasn't. I'm not going to tell you every detail of how it happened, because honestly, some of that shouldn't be repeated in detail, even in a story like this. But I am going to tell you what to actually watch for, because that's the part that matters. Let's get into it. Chloe was 9. She loved Adopt Me. She loved decorating her little house in the game. She loved trading pets with her online friends. Totally normal kid stuff. Her parents both worked full-time, and like a lot of families, the tablet was sometimes the thing that kept her occupied for an hour after school while dinner got made. Nobody thought much of it. Millions of families do the exact same thing every single day. If you're new to this channel, I make videos that look at real situations connected to online gaming, and I try to actually explain what's going on underneath the surface, not just tell you a scary story and move on. So if that sounds like something you want more of, go ahead and subscribe now, because the second half of this video is honestly the part I think matters most, where I break down the actual warning signs parents can look for. Okay, back to Chloe. In the game, Chloe made a friend. The account said the player was 13. Just a normal-looking Roblox avatar, nothing weird about it, no red flags on the surface at all. They played together for a while, traded pets, chatted in the game's built-in messaging. And here's the first thing I want you to sit with. This didn't feel dangerous to Chloe at all. It felt exactly like making a new friend at school. That's actually the whole point of how this works. It's designed to feel completely normal. I'm not going to walk you through the specific messages or the specific things that were said over the following weeks, because honestly, describing that in detail doesn't help anyone. It just repeats a playbook that shouldn't be repeated. What I will tell you is the pattern, because the pattern is what parents actually need to recognize. It starts with shared interests, feeling understood, feeling special. Then slowly, the conversation moves off the platform, usually to some app with disappearing messages. Then slowly, there's a request to keep the friendship private, framed as something sweet, like it's just between the two of them. That secrecy piece is the part I really want you to remember, because it shows up in almost every single case like this. Someone asking a child to keep a friendship secret from their parents is never innocent. Not once. Not ever. Chloe's parents started noticing small things. She got quieter at dinner. She started taking her tablet into her room instead of using it in the living room like she used to. When her mom asked who she was talking to, Chloe said just a friend from the game. And honestly, that answer felt fine in the moment. Because it usually is fine. That's what makes this so hard for parents. Most of the time, when a kid says that, it's the truth. And treating every single online friendship like a threat isn't healthy either. This isn't a story about being paranoid. It's a story about paying attention to patterns, not single moments. Real quick, because I think this next part is genuinely the most important thing in this whole video. If your child suddenly wants more privacy, specifically around one particular online friendship, if they get anxious or defensive when you ask about a specific person, if they start asking for a second app or a different way to talk to someone, or if you ever hear the phrase, "don't tell your parents," even secondhand, that is the moment to actually sit down and have a direct, calm conversation. Not to take the device away immediately, because that usually just pushes it underground. Sit down, ask calmly, and listen without immediately reacting with anger. Because kids who feel like they'll get in trouble stop telling their parents things. And that silence is exactly what predators are counting on. If this is useful to you, and I really hope it is, go ahead and hit subscribe now, because I want more of this information reaching more parents. And honestly, the algorithm helps that happen when people actually stick around for the channel. So here's what eventually happened with Chloe.
Her mom, who, I'll be honest, did everything right here, noticed that Chloe had started asking for a phone specifically, not a tablet, something she could keep with her at all times and check privately. That request alone isn't automatically a red flag. Plenty of kids just want a phone because their friends have one. But paired with the new secrecy, the changed behavior at dinner, and a few too many quick answers when asked simple questions, her mom's gut told her something was worth looking into. She didn't snoop through everything immediately. She actually sat down with Chloe first and asked directly, in a calm voice, who she'd been talking to so much lately. And Chloe, to her credit, actually told her. Said it was a friend from Roblox named Jaden, 13, lived a few states away, really understood her, way more than kids at school did.
That phrase, understood her more than kids at school, is honestly one of the most common things you hear in these situations. And it makes sense if you think about it from a kid's perspective. Predators who do this professionally, and I do mean professionally, because this is calculated, patient behavior. They specifically look for kids who feel a little isolated, a little different, a little unheard at home or at school. They're not choosing kids randomly. They're choosing kids who are more likely to feel like this new friendship is the one place they're actually understood. Chloe's mom asked to see the account. Chloe hesitated, which itself was information. And when she finally showed her mom the messages, her mom noticed something that a 9-year-old wouldn't necessarily catch, which is that 13-year-olds don't usually talk the way this account talked. The vocabulary was too advanced. The way certain topics were brought up felt too intentional.
The requests to move the conversation off Roblox and onto a messaging app felt too smooth, too practiced. Her mom didn't confront the account herself. This is actually really important, and I want to be direct about it, because sometimes people watching this think the right move is to play detective and try to catch the person themselves. Please don't do that. What Chloe's mom did instead was report the account directly to Roblox, save everything as evidence without deleting anything, and contact local law enforcement, who have actual units trained specifically for this kind of thing. The investigation moved a lot faster than most people would expect, honestly. Because of how the account was set up and some of the technical details in how it connected to other accounts, investigators were able to identify the person behind it. It wasn't a 13-year-old. It was a man in his 40s.
I'm going to be honest with you. When I first read through everything for this video, that detail hit different than I expected it to. Even though at this point in the story, you probably already saw it coming. Because knowing something like this happens in the abstract is very different from actually walking through how ordinary the whole thing looked from the outside the entire time. Nothing about the avatar looked wrong. Nothing about the early conversations looked wrong. That's not an accident. That's the design. He was arrested. I'm not going to go into details about the legal proceedings because that's not really the point of this video, and honestly, it's not something that needs dramatizing. What matters more is what happened with Chloe afterward and what her family did right, because I think that's the part that actually helps people watching this.
Chloe's parents got her connected with a child psychologist who specializes in exactly this kind of situation. Which, by the way, is a completely normal and honestly smart thing to do even if nothing physical ever happened, purely because of the emotional manipulation involved. She wasn't in trouble. Her parents made that really clear to her, over and over, because kids in these situations often feel embarrassed or like they did something wrong, and that guilt can honestly be more damaging long-term than the situation itself if it's not addressed directly. Here's my honest take on all of this, because I think it matters more than just retelling the story. The reason these situations work at all isn't that kids are naive or careless. It's that these platforms are specifically built to feel safe, and predators who target kids online know exactly how to use that feeling of safety against a child. This isn't about blaming Roblox, or blaming the kid, or even really blaming the parents.
Most parents genuinely don't know what to look for until they've already learned it the hard way. And honestly, That's the entire reason I made this video. So let me give you the actual short version, the stuff worth screenshotting or saving. Watch for sudden secrecy around one specific online friendship. Watch for a request to move conversations to apps with disappearing messages. Watch for the phrase, "Don't tell your parents," even if it's said jokingly. Watch for an online friend who claims to be a similar age, but talks in a way that feels older or more advanced than that age usually does. And most importantly, if you notice any of this, don't panic. Don't immediately confiscate everything. Just sit down and talk calmly, because an open conversation catches these situations faster than any parental control app ever will. Chloe is doing okay now. It took time. Therapy helped a lot, and honestly, her relationship with her mom got stronger because of how her mom handled it. Calm, direct, without shame. That part matters. How a parent reacts in that first conversation basically decides whether a kid keeps talking to them or starts hiding things even more. If this video actually helped you, or if it made you think about a conversation you should probably have with your own kid this week, that's genuinely the entire reason I made it. Let me know in the comments if you want more videos like this, ones that go past the scary story part and actually get into the psychology and the warning signs, because I think that's honestly more valuable than just the shock value alone. And if you haven't already, subscribe, because there's more of these coming, and I'd rather this information reach as many parents and kids as possible. I'll see you in the next one.